Welcome to our channel History of Coins, where we explore the hidden gems of numismatics. In today's video, we're diving into the fascinating world of rare quarter-dollar coins, cause some of these coins hold an incredible history, and some are worth millions. So today, we are gonna uncover the rarest varieties and their values. So make sure to watch the complete video and find out if you have one of these. Now let's continue our today's video. Top 1 today, there is something mysterious about coins from the 1960s. They carry stories of a changing nation, a shifting economy, and a period where American coinage transformed forever. And among all the quarters produced during that era, the 1967 Washington quarter is one of the most unexpectedly fascinating pieces in the entire series. At first glance, it looks like an everyday coin, the kind you might overlook at the bottom of a drawer or in a forgotten coin jar. But collectors know better. Once you understand its secrets, the 1967 quarter becomes a treasure hunt waiting to happen. To appreciate this coin, you have to travel back to the mid-1960s, when the United States Mint faced one of the biggest transitions in its history. The rising price of silver caused the Mint to eliminate silver from quarters. By 1965, the metal composition changed completely, and the Washington quarter was now struck in clad, a copper and nickel sandwich. That meant no silver quarters were officially made between 1965 and 1967. It also meant the mint was under extraordinary pressure, producing millions of coins to keep up with the booming American economy. And when production speeds skyrocket, errors slip through. This is where the 1967 quarter becomes exciting. These coins were produced without mint marks because the mint wanted to discourage collectors from hoarding coins. But that didn't stop unusual pieces from being created. Some 1967 quarters show striking errors that make them stand out dramatically from normal examples. One of the most thrilling is the off-center strike. When a coin blank doesn't sit exactly where it should, the image shifts, leaving part of the design missing. A subtle off-center might be interesting, but a dramatic one, the kind where Washington's portrait is pushed noticeably away from the center, can turn a simple coin into something stunning. Another favorite among collectors is the double die error. This happens when the die strikes the design more than once in slightly different positions. Doubling can show up on the word Liberty, on the date 1967, or around Washington's profile. True double dies are rare, bold, and incredibly collectible, especially on coins from this era, when the mint was pushing machines to their limit. Some 1967 quarters were struck on the wrong planchet altogether, a type of error that collectors absolutely love. Imagine discovering a quarter struck on a dime-thickness planchet or one mint for a foreign coin. These oddities are wild, unexpected, and instantly valuable because they tell a clear story of a minting process that went just a little out of control. There are also coins with clipped planchets, where a small crescent-shaped portion is missing from the edge, caused by a misfeed during sheet cutting. And then there are coins struck through grease, giving Washington's face or the lettering a smooth, ghostly appearance. Every one of these errors is unique, and that makes them irresistible to collectors. But the magic doesn't stop with errors. Condition matters just as much. If you've ever seen a 1967 quarter in pristine mint state, you know how beautiful it can be. Sharp details, glowing surfaces, and powerful strike strength all elevate the coin into something special. Because most 1967 quarters saw heavy circulation, high-grade examples are incredibly hard to find today. A flawless specimen, untouched by time, becomes a standout piece in any collection. Collectors also love this quarter because it represents a turning point in American coinage. It marks the end of one era and the beginning of another. The disappearance of silver, the rush of production, and the massive changes inside the mint all make the 1967 quarter a story-rich artifact. Even people who don't normally collect Washington quarters are drawn to this one because it feels like holding a piece of history shaped by economic pressure and national evolution. That if you're a coin lover, this is the kind of coin that makes your heart beat a little faster when you find it in a pile of old change. You never know when a normal-looking 1967 quarter could reveal something extraordinary. That is the thrill. The possibility that a common object hides something rare, something exceptional, something worth far more than anyone would guess at first glance. And now we reach the moment that every collector waits for, the dream value. Imagine discovering a 1967 Washington quarter that is not just rare, not just error-struck, but preserved in absolutely breathtaking condition. Imagine a dramatic mint error paired with pristine surfaces, the kind of combination that collectors talk about for years. Such an extraordinary, once-in-a-lifetime piece could reach a dream-level value of $89,000. Top 2, we're diving into the fascinating world of the 1972 quarter. So listen carefully, because what you learn today might change the way you look at your spare change forever. The Washington Quarter series had already been circulating for decades by the time 1972 arrived. But the early 70s brought their own challenges to the U.S. Mint. Heavy production demands, aging equipment, and millions upon millions of coins being struck every single day. And whenever production speeds increase and machines are pushed to their limit, unusual things begin to happen. That's where the excitement starts. The 1972 quarter is made of a copper-nickel clad composition, not silver, which makes many people assume it's nothing special. But collectors know that the value of a coin isn't determined only by its metal. It's the errors, the condition, the rarity, and the story that truly matter. And the 1972 quarter carries all of that. And more point, one of the most captivating things about the 1972 quarter is the surprising number of mint errors that have appeared over the years. Collectors have discovered off-center strikes that shift Washington's portrait into unusual positions. Some of these strikes are minor, just slightly misaligned, but the dramatic ones, the kind where the rim disappears and part of the design slides into emptiness, are stunning to behold and highly sought after. There are also doubled dies, the type of error that every serious collector dreams about. These occur when the die strikes the coin more than once with slight misalignment, causing letters or numbers to appear doubled. On the 1972 quarter, doubling can show up on the word liberty, the date, or the motto, "I in God we trust." Strong doubled dies are rare, beautiful, and incredibly exciting to find. Another fascinating type of error associated with this year is the die break or cut error. These are caused when the die cracks or breaks, leaving raised blobs or unusual shapes on the coin. Some 1972 quarters show dramatic breaks near Washington's head or along the rim. These are not flaws in the sense of damage. They are mint-made quirks, and each one tells a story of the exact moment the die began to wear out under pressure. Then there are the wrong planchet errors. A few 1972 quarters have been discovered struck on planchets intended for dimes or even foreign coins. These pieces are lighter or thinner than normal quarters, and their unique appearance makes them incredibly interesting to collectors. Wrong planchet coins are among the rarest errors because they require multiple mistakes all happening at the same time. A blank of the wrong metal entering the hopper, passing through unnoticed, and being struck with quarter dies. Even the more subtle strike-through errors, where grease or debris gets between the die and the blank, add layers of intrigue. These coins often have missing details, smooth patches, or strange shapes where the design should be. Each one is a one-of-a-kind piece of minting history, but rarity doesn't come only from errors. Condition is king in the world of coin collecting. Most 1972 quarters have been through countless pockets, wallets, vending machines, and decades of circulation. A quarter that old is almost always scratched, worn, or dull. But a pristine example, one that has never seen circulation, one that still glows with its original mint luster, is a treasure. Collectors know how difficult it is to find a 1972 quarter with razor-sharp details, flawless surfaces, and full brilliance. A coin like that stands out immediately. That combination, an older date, heavy circulation, dramatic errors, and the challenge of finding high-grade examples, is what makes the 1972 Washington quarter such an exciting discovery for collectors. It reminds us that age alone doesn't decide value. Sometimes it's the rarity of perfection. Sometimes it's the magic of a mistake. And sometimes it's the thrill of knowing that you might be holding a hidden gem right in the palm of your hand. And now we reach the moment every coin enthusiast waits for. If someone were to discover the absolute finest example of a dramatically error-struck 1972 quarter, a coin so rare, so visually stunning, and so perfectly preserved that it becomes the centerpiece of a collection, that extraordinary upper-limit dream value could reach an incredible $87,000. Top 3, we're stepping into the story of this often overlooked coin, a piece of American pocket change that hides a surprising amount of mystery, rarity, and unexpected value. So if you're a coin lover, sit back, pay close attention, and get ready for a journey that transforms an ordinary quarter into something far more exciting. The Washington quarter had already been circulating for more than 40 years by 1974. But this particular year came at a moment when the mint was still adjusting to the post-silver era. Silver had officially disappeared from circulation coins nearly a decade earlier, yet collectors continued searching for unusual pieces. And the mint was striking millions of coins at incredible speed to meet the demands of a rapidly growing population. With high production pressures, aging machinery, and endless stacks of blank planchets rolling through the presses, unusual events were bound to happen, which is where the magic begins. Even though the 1974 quarter is clad in copper and nickel, collectors quickly realized that this coin is anything but boring. Over time, some of the most intriguing and dramatic mint errors discovered in modern quarters have appeared on this date. Imagine flipping over a coin and immediately noticing something off. The design is tilted, Washington's portrait sits too far to one side, or the rim seems to vanish in one direction. That's the unmistakable mark of an off-center strike. Some are slight and easy to miss, but the dramatic ones, where the design leans deep into the edge, are rare treasures that collectors absolutely love. But the surprises don't stop there. One of the most thrilling discoveries on the 1974 quarter is the double die variety. On certain coins, letters appear shadowed, doubled, or split, a result of the die receiving an imperfect impression. Strong doubling on the date, on Liberty, or on I in God We Trust sends collectors into full excitement mode. A bold double die is like watching the minting process leave its fingerprint behind, rare, noticeable, and instantly valuable. Then there's the fascinating world of die cracks and cuts. Overworked dies sometimes fracture under pressure, leaving raised lines or odd shapes on the finished coin. On 1974 quarters, these cracks can appear near Washington's neck, along the rim, or running through the reverse details. Cuts, sections where a broken piece of die leaves a blob-like feature on the rim, are even more dramatic and always one of kind. The more striking the break, the more excitement it generates in the collecting world. Some 1974 quarters even managed to be struck on the wrong type of planchet, a rare and thrilling error. These unusual pieces might be lighter, thinner, or a different color because they were accidentally struck on planchets intended for other denominations or foreign coins. Wrong planchet errors are extremely scarce and instantly set a coin apart from normal examples. Another type of curiosity comes from grease-filled die strikes. These coins have soft, missing details because debris or minting grease prevented the design from fully transferring. While subtle, a dramatic strike-through can create a haunting, unusual appearance that makes the coin stand out immediately. But even if a 1974 quarter has no error at all, there is something else that elevates its importance: condition. A quarter from this era that survived without a single scratch, ding, or sign of circulation is incredibly hard to find. Most of these coins have been through decades of hands, machines, pockets, and drawers. A flawless, high-grade 1974 quarter with gleaming luster and razor-sharp detail becomes a prize simply because so few exist in perfect form. This combination of age, heavy circulation, and the difficulty of finding pristine examples makes the hunt all the more thrilling. Collectors love coins that carry a story, and the 1974 quarter is full of them. Stories of minting pressure, machine wear, accidental errors, unexpected beauty, and the excitement of discovering something extraordinary tucked inside a coin that millions of people ignored. This is the kind of coin that reminds collectors to always look closely, to never underestimate the value of what appears ordinary, and to enjoy the search as much as the discovery. And now we arrive at the moment every viewer waits for: the dream value of an extraordinary find. Imagine a top-grade, brilliantly preserved 1974 Washington quarter paired with a dramatic and extremely rare mint error, the kind that catches a collector's eye from across the room. Such a once-in-a-lifetime piece could reach a dream-level worth of $85,000. Top for the 1985 Washington quarter is one of those perfect examples, a coin so common, so ordinary in appearance, that millions of people pass it every single day without realizing the hidden world behind it. But collectors know the truth. Even the most familiar coin can hide extraordinary secrets, and the 1985 quarter is one of the most surprising and intriguing pieces from the entire modern Washington series. To understand why this coin has become such a favorite among collectors, you first need to step back into the mid-1980s. It was a decade full of color, contrast, and change. Technology was growing, the economy was shifting, and the United States Mint was running nonstop to keep up with the nation's demand for circulating quarters. The mints in Philadelphia and Denver struck enormous quantities of coins in 1985, and with such massive production came something collectors love more than anything else: the unexpected. Because the minting presses were running so quickly, errors and unusual strikes appeared more frequently than in other years. These weren't obvious mistakes at the time. They were tiny anomalies, odd imperfections, minor shifts, things only a sharp-eyed collector would notice. But decades later, those small differences became major prizes, and that's exactly what makes the 1985 quarter worth exploring. One of the most exciting types of errors associated with this coin is the off-center strike. When the blank planchet doesn't sit perfectly in place, the dies stamp the design slightly or dramatically out of alignment. Some 1985 quarters have just a gentle tilt, but the more extreme versions, where the design drifts far into one direction and part of the rim disappears entirely, are incredibly valuable. Collectors adore these because each one is completely unique. Another fascinating discovery on the 1985 quarter is doubling. A double die variety occurs when the coin's design is impressed more than once at slightly different angles. On this coin, doubling can appear on the date, the motto, or the lettering on the obverse. Strong doubling is like finding a hidden optical illusion, something bold, rare, and unmistakably special. Then there are die cracks, which appear as raised lines or thick ridges caused by a damaged or aging die. Some 1,985 quarters show cracks running across Washington's bust, through the lettering, or along the rim. When the die breaks even more severely, it forms a cud, a distinctive blob of metal near the edge of the coin. These dramatic features are adored by collectors because they prove the coin was made at a moment when the minting equipment was on the brink of failure. Another rare but thrilling type of error is the wrong planchet strike. A few 1985 quarters have been found struck on planchets intended for other denominations, such as dimes. These coins weigh differently, sound different, and look slightly off, a dead giveaway that something unusual happened at the mint. These are some of the most desirable errors of all, because they combine rarity, curiosity, and a fascinating story about how easily a single blank can slip into the wrong batch. You'll also find strike-through errors, where grease, dust, or debris interferes with the striking process. These create ghost-like patches or missing details that make the coin appear soft or oddly smooth. While subtle, dramatic strike-throughs are incredibly collectible because each one is a one-of-a-kind accident. And of course, condition is everything. The 1985 quarter was circulated heavily, and most examples today show scratches, dull surfaces, or significant wear. That's why a pristine, mint-state 1985 quarter stands out immediately. A coin with sharp edges, brilliant luster, and flawless details can be extremely difficult to find. And when you combine high grade with a dramatic mint error, that's when collectors start paying serious attention. The beauty of collecting is that it teaches you to look closely, to appreciate small details, and to understand that even the most ordinary objects can hold extraordinary stories. The 1985 quarter is a perfect example of that. It reminds us that the thrill of coin collecting comes not only from age or metal content, but from discovery, from catching a detail that most eyes would miss, from recognizing rarity where others see nothing unusual, and now, for the moment every collector waits for, the dream value of a truly exceptional find. Imagine an ultra-high-grade 1985 Washington quarter with a bold, dramatic, unmistakable mint error, the kind of coin that becomes the centerpiece of a collection and turns heads at every auction. Such an extraordinary example could reach an impressive worth of $82,000. Top 5. There are coins that pass through our hands every day, unnoticed, and ordinary. Then there are coins that quietly carry stories, mysteries, and the potential for extraordinary value. And the 1996 Washington quarter is one of those remarkable pieces. At first glance, it may seem like just another modern quarter, a common coin that rolled off the presses in the millions. But for collectors who pay attention to the tiniest details, this coin offers a world of intrigue, rarity, and hidden surprises. Listen closely, because the 1996 quarter is a treasure waiting to be discovered. The Washington quarter has been a staple of American currency for decades, but by the mid-1990s, it had entered a modern era of mass production. The mint in Philadelphia and Denver struck millions of quarters in 1996 to meet circulation demands, which may sound like it would make every coin ordinary. Yet history shows us the opposite. The faster the presses run, the more likely unusual anomalies and mint errors appear. These errors, often invisible to the casual eye, are what make this seemingly ordinary 1996 quarter extraordinary. One of the most fascinating things collectors look for on this coin is the off-center strike. Sometimes the planchet isn't perfectly aligned in the press, causing the design to shift. In mild cases, the shift is barely noticeable, but the dramatic versions are thrilling, where Washington's profile leans heavily toward one side and the rim seems incomplete, creating a striking and rare effect. Every off-center quarter is unique because no two misalignments are exactly alike. Another eye-catching error found on some 1996 quarters is doubling, technically known as a doubled die. This occurs when the die impresses the design more than once at slightly different angles, creating shadowed or duplicated letters and numbers. On this coin, doubling can appear on the date, on Liberty, or even on the famous motto, "In God We Trust." A strong double die is an exciting find because it reveals the very moment the minting process slightly went off course, and collectors love that connection to history. Die cracks and cuds also make the 1996 quarter special. Overworked dies sometimes fracture during production, leaving raised lines, blobs, or unusual ridges on the coin. Some of these cracks extend across Washington's bust, through the lettering, or along the edge, creating a one-of-a-kind design. Cuds, which form when a section of the die breaks entirely, appear as raised bumps on the rim or near the design. These imperfections are highly prized because each one is completely unique and impossible to replicate. Even more unusual are wrong planchet strikes. A few 1996 quarters have been discovered struck on planchets meant for other denominations or on planchets with minor metal inconsistencies. These coins are lighter, thinner, or slightly off in appearance, making them instantly fascinating to collectors. Then there are strike-through errors caused by grease, debris, or other foreign material interfering with the die's impression. These create smooth or ghost-like areas that give the coin an entirely different character, further increasing its allure. Condition plays a massive role in the value of this coin. The 1996 quarter saw heavy circulation, meaning most examples today show wear, scratches, or dulled surfaces. A pristine, uncirculated 1996 quarter with sharp details and full luster is extremely rare and highly desirable. Combine that with a bold mint error, and you have a coin that could easily become the centerpiece of a collection. Collectors are drawn to this quarter not just because of its potential errors or perfect condition, but also because it embodies a moment in American history. The mid-1990s were a time of economic growth and change, and the coins produced during this era capture that story. For coin enthusiasts, holding a 1996 Washington quarter with a rare error is like holding a tiny piece of history, a connection to the mint, the machines, and the hands that produced it. And now, for the moment every collector dreams about, the ultimate value of a truly exceptional 1996 Washington quarter. Imagine a quarter in mint state condition with a bold, dramatic, and extremely rare error, the kind of coin that becomes the highlight of any collection and turns heads at every auction. Such a remarkable coin could reach an astonishing worth of $78,000. If you enjoyed exploring the fascinating world of rare coins with us today, make sure to show your support by hitting that like button. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel so you never miss out on the latest coin discoveries, expert tips, and hidden treasures waiting to be uncovered. And tap the notification bell to get instant updates every time we post a new video, because every coin has a story, and you won't want to miss a single one.